Hey guys, this is Ray the Messenger, and in today's video I'm going to talk to you about mental health, how you can overcome your mental health struggles, and how you can identify if you have issues with mental health. But before we get into the video and my own personal story about mental health, subscribe to my channel if you like the videos, put a like on this video, comment, ring the bell, and now let's get into the video. So I will tell you at first a little bit of my own personal story that I had with mental health, because I know that that topic is really important for a lot of people out there right now. I mean, you see it every single day in the media. Recently there was some issues with Kanye West that probably also has some mental health struggles, and everybody in their lifetime probably had some mental health struggles at some point or another. But the most important thing that you have to identify is there are two types of mental health struggles. So one mental health struggle is more in the realm of it's caused by something that is happening in your life or some kind of circumstance in your life. I give you an example for that. Let's say you for example have a job that you don't actually really like, and you have to do that job in order to pay your bills, and that causes you some kind of burnout or mental health struggle. That would be an example of mental health struggles. There are a lot of people right now that are unhappy with their working situation or maybe even with their fitness. Let's say you're overweight, you're extremely overweight, and you're eating unhealthy food every single day. That can also probably cause you a lot of mental health struggles, just because when you're in a bad physical condition, that will also have a negative impact on your mind, because when you're overweight you don't clearly can think oftentimes, and you will sometimes feel hazy or bad, and that will also cause you mental health struggles. But there's also another kind of mental health struggles, and that is the more serious one. I mean, every kind of mental health struggle is serious, let's be real here, but the one that you actually cannot control, that is actually some kind of genetic mental health struggle or some mental health struggle that is just caused by something inside of your brain that you can't really actually change, maybe with a little bit of therapy. Now let's get it first to the second part, because the first part I will tell you how you can fix that if you have any issues with that, and how you can identify in which area you're fitting in. So for the second area, the mental health struggles that are actually caused by some kind of condition inside of your brain, or maybe you had that mental health struggle since birth or maybe since early childhood. Now if you have that kind of mental health struggles, you can identify it by having it for an extremely long time. So the mental health struggle is basically not connected to any outside circumstance. So let's say inside of your life oftentimes things will change, right? So maybe you will move to another city, maybe you will find some new friends, or maybe you will go on a diet and change your weight. And even if you do all these things, let's say you're doing all these things, and over the years the same mental health struggles, they just prevail. You just can't cope with your mental health struggles. Maybe you think everybody's out to get you, and you're a little bit paranoid, or maybe you actually are you actually have a personality disorder or these kind of things. And if you are actually identifying yourself, hey, I think I have these mental health struggles where I actually need therapy, and that would be like things like maybe you have depression, like maybe you have extremely strong depression, and you realize, hey, I did so many things, Ray, I tried so many things, and actually nothing changed. And even though maybe you're living a life that you actually should be liking, at the end of the day the depression has continued over years. And then you're in the second part of the distinction that I've made, right? So you're in the mental health struggle that is caused by some kind of condition or maybe genetic. Think about it. If your parents also had mental health struggles, or some kind of relatives in your family, so let's say you have a lot of family members that have mental health struggles, then it's really likely that actually you also will have some kind of mental health struggle. So if you're struggling with these kind of issues, I urge you to go to a therapist, talk to somebody who's actually a professional, maybe if it's necessary, take medication. But usually I'm not a big fan of medication unless you really need it. So if you have extreme strong mental health disorders where you're like, okay, if I don't take this medication, I will start spinning around and maybe attacking people. So if you're in that kind of mental state, then you actually really need that help. And I know that there unfortunately are some people out there who are suffering from that right now, and that's a really big issue. So if you yourself are struggling with that, I urge you to go find professional help. Or if you know somebody that is suffering from these kind of symptoms that are really, really strong, or even mild symptoms of the mental health disorder, talk to them, sit down with them. Or if that's yourself that is struggling with that issue, find somebody else to talk to, of course also a professional. Now let's get back to the first group. So the group where the mental health struggle is actually connected to the outside circumstances, and that is mostly what I experience in my own personal life. So oftentimes in my personal life I had a lot of circumstances that I didn't really like for example, when I was overweight or when I was living an unhealthy life, I didn't feel good about myself, and I started creating these mental mental health struggles inside of my mind. Because when you're overweight, extremely overweight, or when you're eating unhealthy food, exorbitant amounts of unhealthy food, like I did back in the day, so to a point where you're like, this is not normal. So it's really hard to define what normal is, but if you're eating McDonald's every single day or McDonald's multiple times a week, then you're probably struggling. Then you're probably going into the mental health issues. If you have issues with, so if you have some kind of issues with that, and then those circumstances caused me to actually have a lot of problems in my life, and also caused me to have lower self-esteem. And lower self-esteem naturally is oftentimes the starting point for a lot of other mental health struggles. So for example, social anxiety. If you have a lower self-esteem, then of course the social anxiety is more likely to actually happen, because you will have issues talking to other people. That is oftentimes connected. So if you're in that kind of situation, ask yourself at first, how do I actually mentally feel? Do I struggle with these things? Do I actually hear some kind of voices inside of my head even? Or do I just feel some kind of depression? Why do I feel unhappy? Start really going into that and start asking you the questions. Don't go into the victim mode or the victim mentality and start blaming other people. You need to at first analyze yourself and be rational with yourself in order to know what is actually causing your own personal mental health struggles, or the mental health struggles of an own relative of yours. So I, in my own personal family, some relatives of mine also had issues with their mental health, and you could see that they were actually talking to some people who weren't even there, or doing some irrational things. So for example, walking around in a circle talking to people who aren't there, or taking things and just throwing them around without any reason, or putting some hats on and running around. If you personally are struggling with these kind of things, then I urge you to sit down, write some things down, and actually talk to some people you trust. That's personally for me what actually really helped me. When I talked to someone that really had a lot of trust with me, and I told them everything. I told them, hey man, listen, right now I feel like that I'm kind of struggling mentally right now with the mental health because of these circumstances, of circumstance X, of circumstance Z, of circumstance Y. Because when all these things occur at a certain time, that can be a lot of pressure on your mind, and your mind can only take so much pressure and can take only so much maybe abuse or struggle, and at a certain point your mind will snap if you don't take care of it. Your mind will just turn you crazy, and then you will just go mental, and you will need help, and you will need to talk to some people. And so when I sat down with one of my friends that I had back in the day who I really trusted, I talked to him and I told him, hey man, this is the thing that is bothering me right now. And even doing that alleviated a lot of pain and stress of my mental health, and I just started working towards my own mental health. I will give you some steps that you can utilize in order for your mental health to get in a better place. Number one, eat healthier. That's the most important thing, because I think that the mental health struggles, or even sometimes mental haze, is oftentimes connected to not eating healthy or not working out. So go outside, do some workouts, or maybe even go outside, breathe some fresh air. If you feel like, oh my god, right now Ray, I'm snapping, or right now I'm about to go crazy, or right now I'm about to lose my mind, I'm losing my shit right now, then just go to a window, breathe some fresh air, go outside, take a walk in the forest, and really calm down your mind. That's what personally helped me, to just be like, you know what, I go alone outside into the woods and just start breathing and really start calming down my mind. Because when your mind is in that state, your mind just starts spinning around, you start thinking about things that actually make no sense, and later on in retrospective you're like, man, what the fuck were I thinking? So really calm down your mind, do some meditation, try that if it helps for you. Personally, for me, meditation really didn't help that much. I don't do that often, but writing things down, that actually helped me a lot. So writing down, hey, what is it that I'm struggling with right now, what is causing me issues in my life? When you write these things down, then you can maybe even take these things to a therapist if you want to go to the therapist. And so try to really work on that, because in the end of the day, it's your own personal responsibility, even if it's maybe genetic that you have the mental health struggles, but you need to do your best in order to improve it. I know it's really hard. I know if you're listening to this and you're in that kind of really dark mental place, it's hard to imagine a way out. That's the craziest thing. You feel like this will never end. It's never ending. There's no way out. That's how I felt back in the day. So I hope this video was helpful for you. I hope you can utilize some of the steps that I've told you in this video, and I hope you liked the video. If you liked the video, subscribe to my channel, put a like on the video, ring the bell, and until next time guys, have a nice day. Goodbye.